Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, lovely people. I am really, really pumped about today because today is the final episode of Ask the Expert. And the beautiful expert I've brought along again is Adrian. Adrian, would you do us the honor and introduce yourself to the audience who is new to the group, because there are a lot of people who haven't ever met you. Welcome and
Well,
thank you
thank
for
you so
being
much.
here.
Look, it's always such a pleasure to be on here talking to you.
Thank
We
you.
get through some amazing topics. Just a little bit of background about myself. I'm just entering into my 60th year very soon. So so I've seen a good chunk of life. I'm into my second marriage. I've got a blended family of 6 beautiful adult children and 4 grandchildren, with another on the way very, very soon. And I've been in the coaching and counseling and psychotherapy space now for 20 years. And I just love to help people, to what I call to get on track, but more importantly, to stay on track. Because oftentimes it's easy to sort of get on track, but how do we then stay on track? And that's what I love to do, is help people live the best life they can. Really, really love it.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our series together. So, as most of the people know, I have made a decision to leave Loving Love After Loss and, venture onto new beginnings. And this is one of many reasons why we have chosen to talk about moving forward today, because moving forward is such an important topic in the space of grief, on the journey to healing. And I will hand the microphone back, the virtual microphone back to you now, to maybe kick us off with that topic of moving forward today, because I think there is so much to be said about, and I'm already excited about our talk today. Please, Adrian, take it away.
There are many formats about moving forward, but I'll try and keep it a little bit simple in terms of 2 aspects that I'd like to share today. And in terms of moving forward, there's usually 2 camps on moving forward. There's the real challenge in moving forward, and all the difficulties around moving forward and all the things that go on psychologically and emotionally. But then the other aspect of that is the freedom of moving forward. And a lot of it's depending on where we are individually on the journey, what we've actually worked through or have not worked through, and also what does freedom mean for each individual, because the freedom is quite a generic word that we all have different interpretations of. But just today, I'd like to get a sense of what's still challenging and what's still difficult and what's still in the emotions or the psychology of moving forward. But also, can we start to look at that prospect of a little bit of freedom of moving forward, where we're not so much stuck in the past story, an old story, or an old emotion that potentially can be freed. So it's a very fine line, because everybody's got a different journey depending on time, energy, frequency. But if we can address that today, and if people can address that, so what I would suggest for those people listening in and watching in is, do what I love to do, get a pen and paper and write those 2 words, challenges and freedom. And over the next days, weeks, start to write down, what are the challenges, where have you not moved through yet, and what that potential freedom is for you in moving forward. So that's how I'd like to start. So hopefully that's opened the gateway for a great conversation with us.
Thank you so much. I really like that, to absolutely simplify these things. And I'm a big fan of simplifying things, because especially when you are going through adversity, there are so many things that easily just land in a too hard basket, because you are overwhelmed. There's so much to deal with, so many emotions that are overwhelming you every single day. And I think one thing I want to bring in there while I'm saying this, the so many emotions. I had a beautiful lady in my office just this Tuesday, and I did a VIP day with her, and we talk about this harmony of everything happening in our lives. And I said, I much prefer the word harmony. I know there's a completely another topic, but I really want to bring this in today, because we often talk about that balance. We talk about work-life balance, we talk about emotional balances, we talk about, there's sadness and there's joy and all of that. But for me, when you talk about harmony, it's that step further. There is not, there's no scale. There's no, how much happiness do I need to put on the scale so I can, weigh out the sadness or the grief. This is not what we are talking about here. I think in particular in our world here, in the field of loving life after loss, it is so beautiful to bring that concept in of harmony, because all the emotions work at once. There is, when we think about the time before grief, everybody would find it as completely normal that there's sadness, there's happiness.
Yeah.
But once somebody passes, all of a sudden, all the focus is on the sadness. And it's almost expected that you are sad, which means that you sometimes even suffocate that opportunity of joy, that opportunity of happiness. And this was my very reason to create this movement, to teach people that there is opportunity in every adversity. There is opportunity in every adversity. And when you come to this space of allowing everything in, the joy, the sadness, the grief, the happiness, that everything at once, then you're not trying to outweigh one or the other. Then you're not trying to suffocate one or the other. You're allowing all of it in, and that's where harmony can take place. That's where harmony can infuse your world. And I think that was a really important point for me to bring in there. And that to me very much touches or goes in that direction of freedom, So the challenge is, for me, the expectations of society. That's a big challenge still in the world of grief. Society expects us to fall apart. And the freedom to me is when you allow all of it in, when you allow yourself to trust your heart, to walk at your own pace, to choose whatever you need to heal. So, yeah, I really love that. How are you going with your own experience through that? I'd love to hear a little bit about your personal experience with that, because I know that you had quite a lot of challenges in your life. And how did you learn to apply that moving forward?
Yeah, look, it is a challenging one. Probably one of the most challenging things for me was, obviously I've had, death in the family. But some of the biggest ones for me, I think probably was the ending of my first marriage after 16 years. And that, the challenges of leaving, but also then the freedom of leaving when things weren't quite as harmonious as they probably could have been. And that was a boon, because there were children involved, people involved. So it wasn't just about me. And I think this is the issue around, it's never about one individual. There's always other people connected to, whether it's children or family members. But for me, it was really creating what I call my future vision. What am I truly looking for in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years? And then, keeping and holding that vision, regardless of the pain and the challenges. I know if I hold my vision and I keep working towards my vision, then eventually I know I will get there through all the adversaries, all the challenges. And then once I reach that sense of reaching my vision, then comes the harmony, then comes the freedom. So once again, it's like asking oneself, what do you want to do? Do you want to stay in the grief? Do you want to stay in the old paradigm, the old story? Or is there a part of you that does want to move forward, to move on, which is what the topic is today? What does that look like? One, where do you want to move on to? And who do you want to move on with? I think they're the two questions, like, where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? How do I want to be? And then I know it's difficult in grief, but because some guilt may come up about, we've spoken about guilt before, but the guilt of freedom, what will people say? What will I feel? How will people judge me if I'm suddenly not in my dark grief anymore and I choose to move forward? So I think there's a lot to contend with. And something to share, and we shared this offline before we came on, was really there's two sort of pathways forward in some sense, because you're stepping out of the role as coach, confident leader, many names that people have for you. So one option is for some people to find a similar support. But there's a moment here that I want to address, which is quite important, is this could be a moment for many people, Marie, to stand on their own 2 feet a little bit more. Because it's great to have a coach. I mean, I'm a coach myself, but there's a point where it could have been a bit of a prop, where you prop people up. And then when you slowly let people go, and you have, because you've done this beautifully by not just dropping the bomb, and letting people know, you've given plenty of notice. So people have had the opportunity to seek out support, or to make that list of what can I now do
Yeah.
without Marie being there. So there's sort of two pathways, really. And that's what
Yeah.
I address here. So
I love that you bring that in, because I know we quickly chatted about it, and I wasn't sure how much we are going to take into this discussion here or not. But since you brought that in, I would like to say something about that too, because when you mentioned that before, as in, you can choose to stay in grief or you can choose to. I think there is an absolute legitimate moment where you can say, you know what, I still need this. I still need to sit with this for a little bit, and that staying in grief doesn't mean that you have to stay in victimhood. I think there are two very, very different pairs of shoes, and I wanted to bring that in. Not that you implied that, but I just wanted to make this clear also for the viewers listening to this right now, because I feel there is a time and place for everything. There is a time where I felt it really important to sit with that grief and to allow the tears, allow the sadness, allow me to feel that, yet then also allow me to feel happiness, to feel joy. I needed that so deeply in that space. I didn't know how to, but I knew that was my direction, and that was the whole starting point of this movement. But also when it comes to the movement that we have created, I love that you said that, maybe there is a time for people to stand on their own, breathe on their own, not having this crutch anymore, or whatever you want to refer this as. However, I do want to bring something in that a client said the other day, in a very joking way, but there's also like sometimes a bit of a background to that story when people say that. So I want to pick that up and bring that in here, where she said, "Oh, so before you kick us out of the nest," and she sort of threw that in jokingly, and I said, that's a really good point that you bring that up, because I'm not kicking anyone out of the nest. I'm leaving the nest because I feel that I need to move forward now. I have come to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to apply that loving love after loss a lot more than I have been the last 1.5 years. To me, that was only just the first few steps, and I feel that I've done really well. I'm standing here and I feel that I have created so much happiness, so much joy. I feel really healed where I'm at right now. Yet to that point of loving life, I feel there needs to be another step. And there needs to be a stepping away from the field of grief. And as much as the focus is always on the loving life for me, and always has been, and always was on the healing, I'm still surrounded by the field of grief all the time through the work that I offer here. And I felt for me it was time to step away from that. Because I felt the more I healed, the further the step was to pick up my clients from where they're at. And when you are in that space of it feels more and more like a stretch, I felt that I wasn't, I would get to that space of where I'm not serving people from a space how I could when I was closer to that. I hope that makes sense. It was just really important for me to state that to her. The nest is still there. I'm not kicking anybody out of the nest. I'm archiving the group, yes, but everybody in the nest is still protected, is still safe, is still warm. And the nest, the group, is full of resources. And in those resources, there's also a corner where it says resource corner, where there are other people who provide services, who provide help, who provide healing. And there is many groups out there. I understand, and I'm not saying that to blow my own trumpet. I understand there is not a lot of groups out there that are similar to Loving Love After Loss, because most groups that I've found in the grief space do focus a lot on the grief rather than on the healing. That's why I created this, because I couldn't find anything similar. It doesn't mean that there is no help out there, because the more I've built this and the more I connected with people, the more people I've found that were very much aligned to who I am. And you can rest assured that the people that I have put into the resource corner, I have scanned them, I have talked to them, I have made sure that they are coming in with a positive approach. And also there is, how many days have we got left? 11 days left now before I archive the group. And I have put it out there to anyone, whoever still wants to chat to me, just get a nudge in the right direction, or to book a final VIP day with me. There's one left on the 9th of June. So, I'm still around. I'm not running. It was really important for me to do this gently, to sort of phase it out, close the door and walk away, and not smash the door and run. I didn't feel like running from anything. I love what I have created. I have just come to the point where it was time for me to move forward, to move forward to something new, to something else. And I have received so many questions, so I'm going to answer it here publicly. I have no idea yet what I'm going to do. No idea. And I
Fantastic.
love it because I needed that freedom, coming back to that path, that freedom of just having playtime and fun, and need life with curiosity. And I would love for anyone listening to this to do the same, not as in, quit your job and walk away. That's not what I'm talking about, but the part of meeting life with curiosity. It
Yeah.
is beautiful. It comes back to childlike, uh, you know, being just interested in things, and just playing and trying things out. And I really love it. I really love it. I have moments where I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh, what are we going to do? And then it's like, you've chosen this, you've created this, just enjoy it. It's the adult brain sometimes kicks in and like, you have to know what you're doing. And the child me is like, no, I don't. I'm loving this. So,
Fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And something
on
I
a
picked up
journey.
in something I picked up in them is there was obviously a moment, it was probably an extended moment, but there was a
Mm,
moment when you knew that it was time.
yeah.
And what I'd like to come back to with those listening and watching in is
Mm,
trust that moment.
mm,
Don't fight that moment. If the moment
yeah.
feels right to open a new door, to meet
Mm,
somebody new, to
mm,
close something down, trust that
mm,
intuition, trust that moment. And likewise, if you need that support to help you get through that transition, then obviously you
mm,
said there's a great resource to help people transit into that
yeah.
new space. But what comes to me is trust that moment. And that's exactly
Yeah.
what, when you've trusted that moment, which is inspiring for others to be able to do the same. So
Yeah.
really, resonate with that to say, just trust it. Just
Mm,
hold your intuitive knowing that
yeah.
today, this moment, this minute, it's time to create that new space,
Mm,
and it will, obviously, you've probably been through a myriad of emotions in terms of your choice making, and allowing
yeah.
those emotions, allowing them to arise and dealing
Yeah.
with the moment. So I
Yeah.
think trust is a huge factor in moving forward. Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think,
at the same time,
yeah, no, please.
trusting that whatever is next is the right thing for you, even like
Mm,
yourself, you haven't got any plans.
mm,
Some people will need a plan because we're all very different, and others,
yeah.
like myself, would just go, let's just open to the universe and let the universe deliver. So, a couple of pathways depending on
Mm,
one's temperament. But trust it, trust it, trust it would be the message today.
yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. It's the most beautiful message any day, really. Just
Mm.
trust your heart. And um, for me, when you said that, it was probably that decision when I felt it, when it started coming up for me. Um, I felt it a couple of times over the years, to be honest, and to me, there were a couple of moments of burnout that I had while leading the movement. And interestingly enough, a very close friend said to me once, I've watched you over the years, and every time when you went through a sort of burnout, you came out on the other end stronger and more determined and more connected to the movement than ever. And when he said that to me, I thought that's a really interesting observation, because obviously for him, it was easier to see because he had the outside perspective and he's known me for a really, really long time. Um, but for me, being in the scenario, I didn't see that. I felt the overwhelm, and then I thought of walking away, and then I came back, and then I actually thought, what am I doing? I love this so much. And it's not that I don't love the work anymore. I so love what I do. I'm so passionate about the work that I have created here. And I believe that everybody who knows me knows how passionate I am about it. It's not a lack of passion, it's a lack of um, believe that I can do this forever without uh, continuously sort of going in and out of burnout. And I felt that these burnout situations came more frequently and quicker. And that's when I realized it's because I'm constantly tapping back into the field of grief while I have already healed. So I knew there had to be a path forward for me. And I knew that there was no rush for me, but I knew there was an end to it. And I did not take it lightly. I did take an entire long weekend away to sit with the decision. And then straight after, I went to an ancient ceremonies retreat. So I had an entire week of offline, no influences, no social media. It was incredible, just fireplace and deep chats and soul connections. And in that week, it really manifested for me, and all the answers just came because I had an entire week just to sit with my heart. That is incredible because we don't do that a lot when we get distracted, when we are, social media is a really, really good distractor these days.
Mm.
When we don't take enough time out to just sit and be, it's easy to become disconnected and sort of get a little bit off center. And
Yeah.
that's what had happened to me. I was off center more than I realized. And when I was coming back to my heart, all of a sudden, all these answers came up. And there was this on the 12th of May, make your announcement because it's a month before 12th of June, which is Rob's 5th anniversary of passing. And to me, there was all of a sudden, it was that, it was this perfect timeline that I hadn't seen before. Because 4 days later, I'm flying to Europe with the boys, So I'm like, oh, perfect. It's such a perfect timing. And I love what you said, coming back to the trust, when we trust, I always feel the more we trust, the more we sit in our heart, the more we come back to our center, the path just literally presents itself. And we are often jumping around like crazy and driving ourselves crazy, going like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But when we just sit still and come back to our heart and trust, the path is right there. And we might have not even seen it before, and I thought that's just such a beautiful example to bring that in for people to have that reminder to just sit and be.
Yeah.
Just allow yourself to see the path, really.
Yeah. And just on that, just reflecting back on when you gave the
Yeah.
news, what you did when you spoke it and said, now is my time to go in this direction. One thing that I'd like to put forward for those listening and watching is when you're in that contemplative space of thinking there's another step to take in another different direction, finding that person to speak to, because as we know, when we speak our intention, it's out in the world, then we generally follow through. If we keep the intentions in the mind, oftentimes that's when we change our mind. But once we define that moment and say, I am going to turn left or I'm going to turn right, and when we share that with somebody, it usually cements the decision a little bit.
Yeah.
It really does.
That's so true.
Yeah,
That's so true.
yeah,
I love that you say that because I was not consciously aware of that. I was doing that because the week in a way that I took to just sit with that decision,
yeah,
because I made the decision before I went away. I knew that I wanted to do it, but not how, when, whatever. I just knew it is time. So I knew I wanted to go and sit with that just on my own.
yeah.
And on the last day when I had to check out, I booked myself a little Airbnb near the ocean. I met up with Terry. Terry's one of our moderators, and Terry's been with me for like forever, like from the beginning of the movement. And she's turned into a really, really close friend. And we were walking on the beach, and I told her, and she's like, "Yeah, I could feel it coming," And so many people said that to me. So many close friends. I saw it coming. I knew that would happen one day. I'm like, I knew it too. Yet there was never the right time, and not as in I haven't got time to do that now, as in I was not ready. I was not at that state where I wanted to walk away. There was still work to do inside and outside. There was still stuff to do. It was not the right timing to walk away, and now it is, and now it feels so right. And I wanted to do everything and anything in my capacity to leave the nest with so much warmth and so many feathers and so many resources in there, so people can still feel comfortable in there. Anybody who's in the group can still have the resources available to them. Watch all the videos. There's hundreds of videos and interviews in there, and people they can touch base with. So yeah, I like that. It was such a perfect topic, to talk about today with the moving forward.
Yeah.
And you don't always have to know where that forward is. You just sometimes you just have to let go of what you've been holding on to then free yourself to find that next step.
Yeah.
And it does, I can say that from personal experience, it does take a lot of courage to let go without having that next thing to hold on to. It was scary for me, I have to say, yet it felt so right that the fear just subsided. And I just trusted my heart and let go. And that's the process I'm in now. So it feels amazing. And it feels like so much lightness. And I wish that for anyone, when you think about moving forward, what does it mean to you? Where's the fear? Where's the freedom? And really, what other word did you say? You didn't say fear, you said challenge. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
challenge. Yeah.
So think about,
Look at the
yeah,
challenges, look at the freedoms.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that is such a great exercise. I really want to emphasize that. Go and do it. Grab your journal, write the, what's holding me back and what's waiting for me. Because often we already feel there's
Yeah.
something waiting for us. And sometimes it is that not daring to let go of something without knowing what we're going to hold on to. That there's so much symbolic in what you said before. Maybe it's time to stand on your own for a moment and just go like, okay, what do I actually still need? Or do I still need support? What do I actually want? I often talk about this process of re-identification. And in the space of healing, I think we all go through that, this finding out, who am I after loss? Who
Yeah.
am I now? And for me, the more empowering question is, who do I want to be now? Because there is creation in this. You can be whoever you want to be. And I know that sounds very airy fairy, but I really mean that. Just think about, who do you want to be moving forward?
Yeah.
There's opportunity.
Lots of opportunity. I work on my clients and I call it the future potential self. And I get my clients to, to speak about their future potential self, to imagine their future self, to paint their future selves, and then name that future self as well. So there's something to move into and towards. And once people have that sense of who that being is that they want to become, it's a little bit easier to transit into that space because they sense who that person is, whether they're more in alignment with their work, their finance, their relationship, but just getting a picture of, my future looks like this in my mind. And now I'm going to start to create that future for myself step by step, with support, without the support, both have got merits. And I think it's about finding that individual, beautiful pathway of life that we all have to re-engage with the inner love and coming from the heart.
Oh, I love it. It's all warm and fuzzy when you say that. Re-engage with the inner love. Absolutely. Yeah. Love it. And the when you talk about a future, again, coming back to, who do I need to be to live in that future, to live that future, to have that future. I wanted to ask you, Adrian, because I don't think we've actually officially talked about this. I know I've sent it out in an email once before, but you've got the Africa journey coming up. Is that right?
Yeah, look, potentially. Yeah, look, it's in there, and there is a space to go to Africa, and time is getting a little bit short because it's in August, but there's still an opportunity for a few more people to come on board with me. It probably could be an amazing, incredible place for people to come and re-engage with themselves. It's 21 days in Africa, South Africa.
Tell us a little bit about what's happening on the journey, because I think it sounds incredible.
So look, for those people that probably have the spiritual bent, because I work with shamans, and we do a lot of deep meditative work in sacred caves, and we tune into the spirit of Africa. It's quite incredible. So we start in Cape Town with my good friend Dean Laprini, who works in that shamanic cosmic space. He's been doing it for many, many years. And we visit sacred sites around the Cape Town region. And then we head up into KwaZulu-Natal near Durban, and we do a 3-day walking safari where you sleep out under the stars on a roll mat in a sleeping bag with the lions, with the rhinos, with with guards. The guards are they do have guns, just protection. And then we move on from there into Namibia, and we stay on the river there in Namibia, the Zambezi, and we do tours in the Chobe National Park with the animals. We go to cultural villages. We spend a lot of time in the group discussing life and challenges and ways forward. And then we go to Zimbabwe, to the falls. We go to the Vic Falls as well, which is an incredible place. So it's 21 days, a maximum of 8 people. So it's a very tight group. So I interview everybody that comes along to make sure. But in terms of people wanting to break through to something new, this could be an amazing opportunity.
It sounds incredible.
Back, ready for a new life, ready for a new future potential. So they can do that just by adrianhanks.com or the Spirit Africa journey.com. So those two places, you can reach out to me, have a conversation.
Or simply put an elephant emoji in the comments so Adrian knows
Yes,
to reach out to
nice
you.
and easy. Yeah, then I'll
Make it
reach out to
simple.
them. Yeah, keep life
But
really
we
simple.
will certainly share the link as well to your journey so people can connect with you. But yeah, if you want Adrian to reach out to you, please just drop an elephant emoji
Yeah,
in the comments.
That would be incredible. Yeah, and it is a place
Yeah.
because one thing on there just to share that we visited an orphanage for 2 days that I've been involved with for many years. We're actually doing a charity for them in August to raise funds. And that place is incredible. It's an AIDS orphanage, so they have deaths regularly, like on a weekly basis with children, adults. They've got their own cemetery there. So grief and death is a huge, big part of their daily life on the orphanage. And it could be a great place for people to come and just see something from a new, different perspective to help them through their grief and to move forward. It's an amazing place, the orphanage. Like it's one of the most sacred places on the planet for me. It's an incredible place. It really is.
It is absolutely beautiful. I always say when I was young and crunchy, I worked as a flight attendant and for about 3 years, and I spent a lot of time in South Africa, and we did a private safari there and slept under the stars, and you heard the lions and everything. It was just incredible. And I remember like this massive elephant just on the side of the road, and then zebras, galloping everywhere, and we saw giraffes. It's like literally it's just indescribable when you see that in real life, and there's such sacredness. We did a horse riding safari one day as well, where we saw a rhino with her baby, and we're like very, very far away because you do not want to address them when they have babies. It's incredible, but absolutely beautiful. There's something so raw about this continent, and that spirit is just really. So anybody who's interested in that, I can highly recommend you chat to Adrian about that, because if you just feel drawn to it a little bit, open your heart to it and see why, and see where that leads you. I think there's nothing more healing ever than shifting your perspective. Like every healing journey, everything that I have created in that space, everything has got some sort of shifting of perspective at the base of it, because that's how we heal, that's how we learn, when we look at things from a different angle. And when you want to move forward, you certainly need to adjust your angle, where you're looking at, what is actually standing in your way, and more often than not you'll find it's you. So
what a life lesson that one is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just Adrian, just step out of the way and let life happen.
Exactly. Yeah, it's incredible. So I love it, because there's times where we need to take action, and there's times where we just need to sit still and allow things to happen for us as well. So the lesson lies in finding out when to do what, so would you like to do us the honor and wrap up our final episode of Ask the Expert? What is your highlight? What's the number one lesson that you would like for people to take away from this today?
Probably two things. One is every single journey is individual. There are no two journeys alike for any human being, and to really own and honor that, and to create that journey for oneself, and know that stepping forward is an okay thing to do. It really is okay to step forward. Yeah. And
if you needed permission for that, you officially have it now. So
absolutely.
I just want to say thank you so much, because you have given up your time every month so freely, and came with an open heart and shared so much about your experiences as well. You shared so much of your beautiful energy. I truly hope that your experience in Africa is going to be magical. And for anybody listening out there, I hope you're going to be one of those people coming on that journey with Adrian. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you everybody for listening. And if anybody still wants to have a chat, there's not much time left, but there are a couple of spots in my calendar. So I'm going to post that link in the comments below. If you do want to have a chat, please book a spot, because there aren't many left now. So it's literally just next week that you can book a chat with me if you want that, and I'd love to. And for everybody else, I have been swamped with a wave of gratitude and personal stories that people have sent to me saying thank you. Exactly that. I was so touched and so overwhelmed in the most positive way. I've literally taken screenshots of all your emails and messages and comments because I felt one day I might look back and go like, did that really happen? I want to keep them, that they're my keepsakes. So for everybody who has already sent me a message, I just want to say thank you because they mean the world to me. And it just leaves me with sending you all so much love. Adrian, thank you for being here, and everybody else, thank you so much for watching. This is Adrian and Marie signing off.
Thank you.
Bye for now.